Today, drama means stuck in a loop. Drama means life choices. And drama means sometimes you gotta listen to the kid. Hi, welcome to DramaMeans. Today we're talking about the 2025 Japanese movie Exit 8.
And first, a summary. A subway commuter finds himself stuck in an endless underground loop, forced to pay attention to small differences in his surroundings in order to find the exit. So I have been very excited to talk about this one.
Yeah, I haven't watched a movie that I enjoyed so much in a long time.
I also went into this not knowing anything about this movie. Like, I had no idea what we were walking into. I didn't know the genre. I didn't know how creepy it was going to get, how scary it was going to get, or just how dramatic it was. Like, I literally knew nothing about it, which was kind of fun.
Yeah. I did watch the trailer, and so I knew it was a psychological thriller, but I didn't know really what it was about or, like, that it was based off of a video game. I knew nothing about this video game, so going in, it was just a fun, movie that we're gonna watch. I don't know if I thought it was gonna be fun, but I was interested, and mainly because I've been a Ninomiya fan for years since my adolescence.
That's usually what gets us to the theater for a random movie is, so there's this actor that I really like who's been in this movie, and I think we should go see it, and it's actually playing nearby. Like, that's usually how the conversation starts with one like this.
Yeah, totally.
Because this isn't like a hit blockbuster video game, and honestly, I would say that's probably good, because normally video game movies don't translate all that well, like from the video game to the screen. Like, they feel kind of cheesy. And this one, I think, because it's more of an indie video game, maybe, and the filmmaker kind of understood like what about the game would translate to a movie. I think that's the big problem, is the pleasures of playing like Halo or Mortal Kombat. And then you watch those movies and you're kind of like, well, yeah, it's the story, but like, do I really play Halo for the story?
You're supposed to play video games for the story.
You played Mortal Kombat for the story, the riveting storyline?
Actually, no, I don't know. But I always played Final Fantasy for the story.
Yeah, but those animated movies are actually pretty good, so...
True.
So I'm just saying, like, I'm not always having high hopes for video game movies. But again, I didn't know anything about this going in, so upon watching it, I discovered that it was based on a video game, but it obviously felt like probably a pretty indie game, a pretty small release that not that many people really know about. At least, dummies like me.
Yeah. I mean, we're casual gamers, so we're not like...
Well, what's like the rung, like, below casual gamers? Like, I feel like we're that. We're like
True.
Occasional casual gamers.
Yeah. So going into this, I didn't realize how deep this movie is, and the storyline, and the social commentary of everything, and like our monotonous life that we lead.
Yeah, and I think it's from beginning to end, it really stays true to that theme of the daily grind that everyone is finds themselves caught up in and lost in. And you can look up and 10 years have passed and you've taken the same train to work with the same people, and you don't even know who those people are, except you're probably on the train with them every single day, because people are creatures of habit, right?
Yeah. And just how like conformity, and how you're just kind of stuck in this life of no creativity, and just, I don't know.
Coasting, I think, is almost a good way to put it. It seems like a lot of people in this day and age, especially in the computer age, where you maybe sit in front of a computer all day long and kind of punch numbers and fill in spreadsheets, and you're just kind of the idea that every day could feel exactly the same.
Yeah.
And that is why we kind of, distract ourselves with things that maybe don't matter, because, well, I'm just, I can go on autopilot. I can text and drive. I can watch social media on the train and just not pay attention to my surroundings at all. I'll get to work.
Yeah, it's just I mean, we all know about it and we all complain about it, but like we're also like, you know, the creatures of it.
Well, the consumers of the thing we all claim to hate.
Yeah.
And like the way of life we now have is so dictated by the screens in front of our faces, yet most of us can't put them down.
Yeah.
As we record this podcast, there are 3 screens.
Yeah, and I've gotten, you know, some terrible hand muscle pain.
Carpal tunnel.
Carpal tunnel.
Let's just call it what it is.
No, there's 2 types. There's carpal tunnel and then there's like another one.
Sure.
Anyway, it's like, I don't know, the carpal tunnel is like the pinky and ring finger, and then the other one is like your index and thumb or something. Anyway, whatever.
Things you only know because looking at your device after holding your device all day.
Exactly. So we're definitely offenders.
Oh, for sure. And I think most people are, some to a greater degree than others. I think some people do a good job of, you know, staying unplugged when you can be unplugged. But I think it's the reality of the life. We live in a 2-screen world. If the television is on, you probably also have your phone in your hand or your iPad in your lap. Or there's something else going on. Like, we're just so used to being constantly bombarded with this. If you think 20 years ago, how weird it would be to just have your phone with you all the time and have access to information all the time. Like, we went for long periods of time without knowing things because you just couldn't just look it up.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think this does a really good job of setting that tone right from the very beginning on the subway car when we first meet our main character, which... Another interesting thing about this movie, none of the characters have names.
Yeah.
It's just the lost man, the walking man, the boy. I'm like, that's an interesting choice because I've always said to people, name your characters. Like, if you care about your characters, I've just given this advice to young screenwriters, like, you have to name your characters. Let me know you care about them. And this movie goes the complete opposite way.
But it also is like anyone can be these characters.
Hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Like, they aren't... It's almost like if this could be a character who is like genderless, like nationalityless, just everythingless. He's an avatar for us, for the audience.
Yeah, for sure. And so that's just another level of like how they took care of, you know, the theme of the movie and, you know, the characters, even though they don't have names. Like, it's very like descriptive.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. And again, you don't really know that until the end credits of the movie roll, or you've looked on the IMDb and kind of like did a little background research. You don't quite understand that layer of it, but you definitely feel it through the filmmaking. And that was the thing I was so thankful for, this whole thing of just, they let us feel all these things through the filmmaking. And with the exception that we'll talk about later, they didn't spoon feed us very much in this film.
Yeah. So I don't know if you also thought the same way, is that, you know, you're going on your routine, you know, walk through the tunnel, everything you normally do, and then there's like a disturbance or like some kind of thing that's like different from your norm, right?
Right, and in this movie they call it the anomaly.
Yeah. So when you see an anomaly, but like for me, I saw every anomaly that they came across was like a normal like obstacle or some kind of like hiccup you go through in life, which you feel like has totally, you know, like torn your life upside down kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know if I thought about it necessarily in a tore your life upside down way. The way I went with the metaphor was, you're walking through this tunnel and everything's the same and everything's monotonous, and it would be really easy to just keep walking through it and not notice the small differences. But when you open your eyes, you start to notice small changes of your day. Even that boring daily commute, you're going to notice small things if you actually paid attention. And I can't remember what philosopher said, like, life is a series of choices. Well, if you are constantly ignoring these anomalies, you're taking those choices away from your life. And you're taking these different options and these different routes away from yourself. And here, you're forced to look for the anomalies, find them, and then make the choice to actually change your course, not just stay the course. So that's how I kind of saw it. But some of the anomalies were more traumatic or more life-turny, I think, than others, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely I saw them as the obstacles that we, encounter in life, like the random, like, car accident you get into, or like, tripping and breaking your ankle or something, right? And then you're like, okay, well, now my life has changed. Either I, like, force myself to go the way that I'm supposed to, or I can look back at it and be like, okay, this thing happened to me. I can, like, change my life, like, turn around and, like, as you said, change courses, right? And so it's sometimes like turning around and starting over isn't exactly a bad thing. You may think of it as a bad thing at first, but it actually might lead you the right way.
I read a really interesting article years ago, and it talked about how bad we as people are at predicting, like, our happiness. Like, if X happens, I'm going to be really, really happy. And then that thing happens, and sure, you're happy. Your team wins the Super Bowl, and you're, like, really happy for a week. But, like, after, like, Monday, you have to go back to work. And so, like, did it really change your life that much? Like, you thought it was the most important thing in the world. And the same thing goes with the negative. Like, breaking out of a toxic relationship seems super scary, and the world is just going to implode on the other side of it. And then you do it, and you're like, oh, yeah, right. Okay, I can survive. And so, like, humans are really bad at that unknown factor. And the fact, like you say, like, turning around and starting over seems super scary before you actually take the first step. And I thought it's a really good way to put it.
Yeah. So there are a lot of these metaphors throughout the movie, and it is so eye-opening because it's slapping you in the face.
And the film itself is so simple that it lets these things play, like, front and center. Like, it didn't have to have a lot of frosting on this cake to make it engaging and interesting. Like, you did start to look for the differences with the characters. Like, I found myself almost trying to, like, peek around the corner as he was walking around the corner to try to see what I could see first,
Yeah.
So I really liked I thought the simplicity of the film was so brilliant, but then also being able to keep it engaging throughout and keep the audience always on just not the edge of your seat. It's not that kind of movie. It's the kind of movie where you do sit up, though, and you really pay attention.
There are just some jumpy moments that I being the scared of everything person, there are a lot of things that I did jump at, but it wasn't scary like, oh, this is gonna haunt you.
No.
But it definitely has like, a little jump scare.
I mean, I think the brilliance of the movie is the fact that the premise is the scary part. Is this idea that you're just going to march with your head down through life, stuck in your phone, and one day you're going to look up and you're 80 years old and it's almost over.
Yeah. That's pretty scary.
That's like terrifying.
Yeah. But it also, like, with the distractions in life, that you put so much emphasis on, and, like social media, or, like certain people that, like, enter your life and you're, like, enamored, or you're, so distracted by these things that you're gonna overlook the important things in life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that the distraction is such a key moment, because I do think in our current society we're almost perpetually distracted. Like, everything is trying to distract you. Like, get off your path and go buy Adidas. Like, it's just like, like ads are pulling you one way and society is pulling you another way. And then there's just social media and the brain rot and no, you have to own this. And it's like consumerism. There's just all these different things that are trying to pull you off of whatever path you might be trying to walk, and like straight up derail you sometimes.
Yeah. And we see that both in, The Lost Man, where, in the beginning he's scrolling through, all the, clickbaity articles on the train or subway. And he even notices things that are happening that he's not comfortable with on the subway, but he just goes right back to, like, ignoring the things around him and, like, concentrating on the music he's, drowning everything out with, and also, the social media, the doom scrolling that he's doing.
Right, and I thought it was really interesting that the doom scrolling part is in your brain. That stuff on the phone is so important to know. Oh, I've got to know what's going on. I've got to know. I've got to be in the know. But it's just noise. It's just garbage. It's rats with ears. It's, it's like, it couldn't be less. It's rats with human ears, I should say. Rats have ears.
Yes.
Right? Is that what you're looking at me weird?
Yes, rats have ears.
But this rat had a human ear on it.
Yes, and human eyeball.
And human eyeballs coming out of the side of it. So it's like, it's just garbage. But we think it's so important for us to get to our device and scroll through it.
I mean, rats are mutating.
Yes, oh my gosh.
Crazy.
That's going to affect my life somehow.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah. So the thing is, it's kind of interesting how they bring it back out. Like, oh, you see it in this subtle clip of him scrolling through his phone. Like, I could tell you that I wasn't really even paying attention, to what he was looking at on his phone. But, then they bring it back where, like, that's one of the anomalies that shows up. And he's, there was, like, a huge flood that was, like, affecting a certain area in the doom scrolling. And then, like, it as an anomaly, there's a giant flood coming his way. And then he's climbing on this, like, exit sign. And there's rats, with, like, human features, like, the human eyeballs and stuff, and it just brings it back as like, oh, this distraction, like, you're forgetting what you actually need to do, which is like turn back.
Yeah. And also too, like, when you look at it on your phone, it's not really important because it has nothing to do with you. And now it's like, well, this is what it would feel like if it did have something to do with you. You'd be in the middle. You'd understand that it was dangerous. You'd understand that it was scary and weird.
Yeah.
So, like, don't mistake what's on the screen for real life.
Yeah.
Because guess what? When it comes to real life, you'll know it.
Yeah. But I also, like, yes, we saw that article where, like, rats, are mutating into having human features or whatever. But also, like, I also saw it as, the lost man finds out that his partner is pregnant.
Well, it seems like it's ex-partner.
Ex-partner.
Yeah, so, like, she calls him and says, hey, I know we've broke up, but I'm pregnant.
Yeah, and so now it's this, like, constant fear that he has in him, right?
Right.
And so he sees these things coming, and it's almost as if it's like the fetus is developing. And so the eyeballs and the ears are developing, and
Right.
then I can't remember if there's like a baby crying in the background too, while all this is happening.
Yeah.
But that's what I kind of saw it as well.
I think the baby crying was earlier in the locker.
Okay.
When he goes to the subway locker, and it's like he can hear kind of like the baby, and then it starts screaming and crying, and it kind of freaks him out.
Yeah.
I think that was earlier, but you could be right. Could be also in that scene as well.
Whatever it was, like, that's kind of how I saw it too. So it was like, yes, social media, all this distraction, but also all these, like, nagging things that you want to avoid, but are, like, subconsciously, like, bothering you. So that's how I kind of saw it too.
No, that works as the metaphor completely as well. I also thought in that moment in the flood, like, his instinct to try to save the kid, like, kind of showing himself, like, you can be a dad, like, you can care for something outside of yourself.
Yeah.
Was a big moment, I think, for him as a character to go. And also, like, when he comes out the other side of it going, oh yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
Like, I did put this child in front of me, and I'm still here. I'm still alive. I survived the flood too.
Yeah.
So I really liked that moment as well of, like, kind of bringing it full circle.
Yeah. So there's, like, so many, like, it's such good imagery, but then it just really, like, makes you think while you're watching it. Mm-hmm. So I really enjoy that. Like, I haven't had that type of moment in a long time where I'm just, like, completely enthralled by it, by a movie, by a show,
Yeah, and I would say this is so different than anything we've watched recently. Like, just tone-wise, filmmaking-wise, like, the whole thing is just so different than, I mean, if you go back and look at DramaMeans episodes from this year, like, there's nothing on this list that is in the same ballpark as this one.
Exactly. So we're going to take a break from The Lost Man and talk a little bit about Walking Man. And...
Well, first of all, which was fun, we go away from our main protagonist's point of view, and we go in to this automaton's point of view.
Yeah.
To figure out how he became the Walking Man.
Yeah. And it was... When I was watching it, and I'm like, oh, is this whole movie going to be carried by Ninomiya, right? And that's our only focus. And then it just switches POV, right? And they're just like, oh, this is interesting. This is like, so it doesn't get too monotonous on that side,
right,
as well, right? So it was quite interesting. And then we are introduced to the boy as well, through The Walking Man. And, like, although The Walking Man was quite creepy for me.
Well, at the beginning especially.
Yeah.
But then once he becomes that Walking Man and more of a human being, you start to see him as a character. You start to understand he's in the same predicament as our Lost Man, and is just as frustrated, if not more so.
Yeah.
And is kind of... And he's also has this kid in tow, who you come to realize quickly he doesn't really know. The kid is also lost.
Yeah.
And so they didn't necessarily get there together. They found each other.
Yeah.
In this this tunnel loop.
Yeah. And that he's also, like, rushing to see his own kid.
Right.
Trying to get out of this loop. The thing is with him is he really loses himself through a lot of the distractions. And, like, at first he's going through the same, like, counting the posters and looking at the lights. And then he just doesn't listen to the kid. When the kid, like, clearly is stopped and, like, looking at an anomaly, he's like, no, I'm not gonna pay attention to the kid or what the kid has to say, which a lot of times adults are like that, right? Like, the kid has something important to tell you and you just ignore it, or you're like, oh, well, what does the kid know? You know, I'm the adult, I need to take care of the kid, I need to lead him, and then you forget to listen. Yeah,
and I think the idea that, you know, kids in the world see a lot of things adults don't because they're absorbing. They're sponges when they're young, and so they're eyes wide open, taking in everything. And so the kid keeps noticing things the adults just kind of take for granted. And I thought that was illustrated really good later when he realizes that the number 8 is upside down, which even as I'm watching this movie, I'm looking at every sign in this movie. I'm looking at every frame as close as I can. Like, I noticed when the door handle was in the wrong spot, and I was like, oh, that's where he's going to screw up. He's not listening to the kid. But that one was so subtle, it almost takes a child to go, that 8 is wrong.
Yeah.
Because as adults, we're just like, it's the general shape. Move on.
Yeah.
I understand it. And you take those small things for granted. So I really like that small, subtle detail.
Yeah. So it was nice to see. It kind of creeped me out a little bit that he was very interested, the Walking Man was very interested in the high school girl.
Yeah. They played like a little bit of, like, I wouldn't call it sexual tension.
He didn't start out having any kind of, like, you know, sexual intention, but as the girl was giving him more and more attention, he was really feeling himself.
Yeah, he was getting hot under the collar.
Yeah. And it's but then it's that starts, like, getting you into, oh, I'm gonna make a mistake. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just that, you know, oh, I'm so cool. Like, this young hottie is like interested in me and giving me attention. I must be super cool. Now I'm going to act on something that I should not act on.
Right.
And I don't have the better judgment to stop myself. That part is like, oh, and I know people do it, but it's not right.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to this idea of, you know, the anomalies and the things that you notice in life and, like, the distractions from your path and, you know, what do you do with them? What are the choices you make? And do you make the right choice or the wrong choice? And then when you make the wrong choice, then what do you do next? Do you panic and make another wrong choice? Which is kind of what ends up happening to him is he's, you know, thinks he's kind of cheated the game.
Yeah.
Because he fails utterly. and then seemingly walks into the solution and is like, oh shoot, I win anyway. And you're like, wait, you forgot the rules of the game. You're so quick to want to skip the game.
Yeah.
And the kid is going, no, that's not part of the rules. You are trying to skip steps.
Yeah.
And obviously he makes the wrong choice and walks up the stairs to the exit and becomes the walking man to forever be in his monotonous life and not really ever get out.
Yeah. So, like, when he starts, like, ignoring everything and just like, okay, I'm walking up these stairs, it was so, like, disheartening.
Yeah.
Because we all knew, right, that he was never going to be able to get out again after that. But it was stressful to watch, but it was like, yeah, that happens.
And I do think this, like, tunnel, the rules are a little messed up. Because, like, strictly speaking, running into the kid is an anomaly. But it's not an anomaly that's part of the tunnel, right? Because he's also a lost person. And, like, so the walking man running into the kid wasn't an anomaly, but running into the girl was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, like, this idea that the difference between an anomaly and an everyday occurrence is you have to really look close to tell the difference.
Yeah.
And it just goes right back to this idea of, like, the stairs on the way out is either the exit and an escape or a trap. And the difference is real, real subtle. And if you're paying attention, you'll know. And if you're not, if you're just coasting, you won't.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is, when the lost man saw the kid, the boy, he turned around, right? And he's like, that's an anomaly.
Yeah. An anomaly.
Anomaly.
Nope, try again.
Anomaly.
There we go. We're back. Back in business.
I'm getting tongue-tied. Yeah, so, but, like, that also represents, like, oh, well, my ex-partner is pregnant, right? And so that's an anomaly.
Yeah.
But then it's not, because being a dad is not an obstacle. Well, I mean, it is.
It is.
But
no, but he's a fellow on this journey, so it doesn't really count as part of the anomaly. It's something now he needs to take responsibility for. And again, if you look closely, the way that the walking girl was walking through the hallway, if you're the walking man, you've seen her every step, and now that she's doing something different, that's an anomaly. But where the kid comes in and he's acting like a human, and it's only occurring once. But also, like, I think even the spirit of the game, like, let's say he meets the kid and he goes, is this an anomaly or not? If he keeps going, he just has to start over again.
yeah.
And again, that's not the end of the world, starting over. To start back over from zero sucks, and it feels disheartening. But there's still a way out.
Yeah.
You still have to keep playing the game to get out.
Yeah.
So I think that, like, this is one of those perfect examples of a movie who, like, I talked about this, I think, last time, of, like, find your North Star as a movie and then make every decision based on that North Star, and you'll make a good movie. And I think every time they've come back in this movie where they're like, do we go left or right when it came to, like, writing or directing? Well, what's our North Star? What's this movie about? What's it mean? It's not really even a choice what we do next as far as a creative team.
Yeah.
We already know.
Yeah. So, I think you really, just from the first scene of the whole movie, you were like, this, whoever, like, the director or the filmmaker is, they just know what they're doing.
I have realized this about myself very recently, like the last maybe year or two, is that if a filmmaker, they have to earn my trust for me to basically go, all right, do you know what you're doing, or are you a hack? And I'm starting to notice the telltale signs of a hack. And the first 10, 20 minutes of a show, I know I'm going to hate the whole thing because they're just making these obvious mistakes and they're driving me crazy. And it's not taste choices, it's competency choices. This one, the first scene, he's on the subway, crying baby, he looks over, and you look at the subway car, and everyone but the woman is wearing black. The filmmaker knows exactly where he wants your eyes to go. And I was like, this is someone who understands the frame that he's been given to shoot the film with. Like, that one frame went, oh, we're in good hands. Which, like, gives me that warm feeling inside going, okay, now I'm going to go with you. No matter where this movie goes, I feel like I'm in good hands. I can suspend my disbelief in other areas because I feel like you're going to bring me back.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like you're just leading me into the weeds to disappoint me.
Yeah. For me, it was Nino's POV.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just like, being in his shoes and, like, feeling lost and then having, you know, like, trying to, like, not bump into anybody and, you know, during, like, rush hour in the subway station and still trying to handle, you know, the phone call and trying to be present but, like, also distracted, you know, like, and then the change of the POV when he does get, like, lost and things like that. Like, for me, that was it. Where I'm like, okay, I'm all in. Like, I'm with this character now.
Well, the POV does a couple things there, right? It does what we said before, which is it puts the audience inside the character, which is the main character of this film is us.
Yeah.
And so it puts us inside the main character's head, literally. And then B, I loved how it showed how easy it was to get lost. How easy it was for him to look up and realize, wait, something's wrong. I am now lost. But how easy that transition happened.
Yeah.
Any one of us could have made the same wrong turn to end up in this subway loop. And so I was like, it's so effective and so simple, but the film language, vocabulary in this film is, like, to me, damn near perfect. Like, it's hard to find, like, with the filmmaking itself, it's hard to find a nitpicking moment to go, well, I would have done this. I would have done that. Like, I'm not a big fan of POV shots. Like of that strict of a POV. I don't like them. It works here.
Yeah. I don't love POV shots in terms of, like, action.
Yeah, I think they're like, kind of, like, gimmicky.
Yeah. But for this, it's like you're really feeling like you're in their head, for sure. And you are them. So that, for me, is a big win in this movie.
I would say the other thing that I noticed is the sound and music cues, how repetitive and consistent they were. Like, every time Walking Man entered the frame, you had the same music sting, the same music cue. Every time he came around that corner to see if the sign had changed, you had the same music cue. It just gave you this repetition that was really grating. It really made you feel like, oh, this again. And it was like spine tingly. Even though you'd seen The Walking Man 50 times, now it's like, is this going to be different? No, it's just the same. The same as always. It's always the same. Ugh. And you're just starting to feel that pain of his. I just felt like it kept us with him on this journey so well.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I remember after the movie, I asked Ryan, like, oh, did you think that they built this like, hallway, this loop, like, as a never-ending, like, you know, loop so that they can keep walking and, like, not have, and, like, keep shooting without having to cut?
No. First of all, I don't know. Uh-huh. I don't think so, because the way that it wasn't really a loop where you were literally walking in circles. It was always a left followed by a right, left, right, left, right, left. Like, he always turned, he came up to the sign and it said which platform was next. It was, you know, it was exit 0. And then he took a left and he went down a short hallway, and then he took a right and went down a long hallway. And then he took a left and went past the photo booth. And then he would take a right and he would be back in that hallway. So it was always left, right, left, right, left, right, which you can't get back to the beginning of a loop unless you're doing funny things with the math. That those like angles aren't really 90 degrees, and so eventually they can go around. But I appreciated that from a visual standpoint, that it wasn't like 3 rights in there somewhere where it was an obvious loop.
Uh-huh.
But I'm pretty sure, and I think I read that this was basically the movie was 90% shot on a soundstage.
Yeah.
With those hallways. I think they probably had 1 or 2 configurations and they just redressed them and used editing transitions to bury edits, especially in that first part where it feels like there's no cuts.
Yeah.
There's definitely edits buried in there because it's so... Now with the way cameras work and as long as all your measurements are right, you can do different things with masks and you'll never notice. And so it's less you have to build a loop and more like, oh no, we'll just make sure we use this edge as a masking point and then we can continue this shot. Or he leaves frame for a second and then he comes back on a frame. Oh, that's actually a stitch point, you know?
Yeah. So I have a gripe.
Oh, finally, we've loved this thing so much. Everyone who's used to us ranting is probably wondering where that is.
I know. Well, my gripe is, I want them to trust the audience into understanding what their theme is.
Right.
You know, like the metaphors and your theme, and I just, like, I want the filmmakers to believe that we can come up with our own, like, interpretation of their story, right? I don't need the high school girl repeating it over and over again, like, oh, isn't it boring, like, pathetic. The way she said it, it was like more like, oh, it's pathetic to keep going, you know, day in and day out, you know,
doing the same thing,
doing the same routine, and it's like, it's literally spelling it out for you of like what their movie is about. I don't need that. Like, even if you say it once, just like in a very mocking way to him, I know she goes crazy, and that's why he like freaks out and like, you know, runs away from her, but it could be something else.
Yeah, I mean, they needed him to basically discover this glitch in her, and obviously they wanted to bring the subtext of the film to text for the audience. I don't know if it's a note within a note with themselves of going, well, we're really worried that people are going to not know how to feel when they leave the theater if we don't have this piece. I agree with you. I didn't need it. I already knew what the movie was up until that point.
Yeah. And
I didn't need this kind of, like, isn't your everyday life just as boring as walking in a tunnel? Like, that's pretty much what she's saying in dialogue.
Yeah.
Is, you know, your everyday life of, like, going to work and going home and, like, seeing your kids and putting them off to school, isn't that just as boring as being in this loop? How pathetic. Like, okay, yes, no, I got it. I already got it. I'm already there.
Yeah. So I didn't need that. I thought it took away from the movie.
I wish it was... I was thinking in that scene, what I would have liked in that scene is he sees the girl and, you know, he gets, like, she's going to come along now. She's going to be the third amigo in their little triangle. And he says something about, this tunnel is like the most torturous, monotonous, what a stupid game. And she just goes, what's the difference?
Yeah.
And, like, that would have been enough for me to go, what's the difference to what you normally do on a normal day?
Yeah.
And that's it. And then him hearing those like, what's the difference? And then he turns around and she's gone.
Yeah.
And just disappears from the game. And you're like, that was an anomaly, you asshole. You've just failed this board.
Yeah.
You know? And so, like, I kind of wish they would have left it a little more subtle. Like, I understand wanting to bring it to text, but maybe there was a more elegant way of doing it.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, you have a smile on your face.
I just want to talk about Nino.
Oh boy, I knew we were getting to this point.
Well, like several years back, we went to Japan, and I was in the subway and saw a giant ad of Nino's, like, drinking, like, selling whatever coffee it was, right? And I took a picture, and I was like, I ran into my favorite Japanese actor in the subway.
In an ad.
Yeah, pretty much, right? But, you know, as people do, like fans do, and I just want to, like, mention that he has been in the industry for a really long time, since, like, mid-90s. Mm-hmm. He was in a boy group called Arashi, and, you know, this is, like, during the days of, I literally have a magazine with Andy Lau on the cover, and then all the, like hot boy bands, right, in the centerfold, and it was, like, Arashi, and, I'm gonna say this wrong, but like Sekiseki.
Nope, I'm not helping at all.
Well, this is like a Korean group with Eunji-won and a bunch of other people. I can't remember their names, but like they were like the thing in the 90s, right? And so I've followed Dino's career for a really long time. He's one of my favorite Japanese actors. He was in Letters from Iwo Jima.
Right.
But what I saw him first was stand-up. He was this kind of like pretty much lowlife that was like obsessed with like getting laid because he was like a teenage boy.
Okay.
A few of my favorite projects he's been in is Ryosei no Kizuna, Yasashi Jikan, and Door to Door, which like are just different roles that he really like just shows you how great of an actor he is.
Well, bringing it back to this, I would say, much like Tom Hanks in Castaway, like when you're an actor and you read a script and you're like, oh, it's me in a hallway for an hour and a half. You're either terrified or like, let's do it. And maybe both.
Yeah.
And I think the good actors are probably both. Like, it's terrifying to think that I got to make this interesting. I got to make choices that are going to be authentic and interesting and engaging and keep the audience coming back around every corner. And also the trust of the filmmaker to, like, support you. It's just one of those roles that are, like, could make or break your career a little bit. You know, he's obviously past that point of, like, make or break. But you know what I mean? Like this could go real bad. Yeah. This could be a big time flop and be a boring movie and you're like, oh, that was a misstep.
Yeah, the thing is, like, if you look at his filmography, he's probably done every single role you could think of.
Yeah.
Like, he's done the action hero in Gantz, right? He's the cerebral palsy door-to-door salesman in Door-to-Door. Like, he's been, you know, a serial killer character. Like, he's just done it all. And so I'm like, of course he's going to do this.
Right.
This is like, I feel like this is made for his level of acting.
No, he's fantastic in it. Because I think I said to you right after the movie with everything about the film that's great, the fact that you really don't want to look away from a single frame of this movie and you are engaged the entire time. It doesn't ever feel stale. It doesn't ever feel like, oh, get to the point. Like, you don't feel impatient for this movie to end.
Yeah.
And when it does, it almost felt like it ended a little early, which I think is a fantastic compliment. Like, if you keep me engaged for an hour and a half to 2 hours, and you leave the movie, and I'm like, wow, that movie ended a little soon. You nailed it.
Yeah, for sure. So for me, my rating is Around the World in 80 Days.
Highest of the highs.
Yeah, it's like...
There hasn't been too many ratings like that from you.
Yeah, and the thing is, I haven't watched a movie I've enjoyed so much and, like, made me think for so long and just, like, make me passionate about, like, you know, wanting to direct again.
Right.
I haven't watched that in a long time, and this is bringing it back. So Around the World in 80 Days, even though I did have the gripe with, you know, whatever, but it's such a small thing, and I'm fine with it. It's whatever. I loved it. I loved it so much.
I think I match that with you. I mean, normally I'm a little harder on things, and I'm a little like, well, nothing's perfect. But I will say Around the World in 80 Days is probably right for me as well. And maybe just because not only did I enjoy the movie afterwards, thinking about it, the whole time, like, I just felt so, like, alive, so just in it. And so it was such an enjoyable experience during, and then we got to sit with it and kind of talk about it, and now we're talking about it again, and I'm, like, re-examining all these different things I really liked about it. It's just a full palette for me. It's got all the flavors. So, yeah, Around the World in 80 Days, as much as I don't like to give anything a perfect score, it's probably my favorite movie / TV show this year so far by quite a ways.
Yeah. If you're in the LA area, it is still in theaters right now. So I definitely recommend checking that out.
Yeah. Go give it a watch. It was worth it.
Yeah.
Really glad we went and saw it.
Yeah. Anyway, that is it for us this week, and thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time.